MotoGP moves over to the Japanese Grand Prix, and it's time for Friday timed practice. The next hour is crucial as it sets the running order for Q1 and Q2. Welcome to Twin Ring Motegi for the Japanese Grand Prix. Green light and away we go. Welcome to MotoGP and the Japanese Grand Prix. We're out onto the circuit then for 1 hour of time practice. This morning's free practice one session, not really much happened. 45-minute session with rain interfering in the middle as well. Sadly, not much could be done. But fingers crossed, we're in for an interesting one now because the next hour is going to be quite entertaining. Everyone going out there, hard front, soft rear, so immediately want to get some information. Track temperature, 31 degrees Celsius in some parts of the track as well. Air temperature is at 27 degrees Celsius. 81% humidity as well at the moment, just gone past 3 o'clock here in Motegi. It's a wonderful circuit, it's a wonderful atmosphere that is being built up as well here. And fingers crossed that Japan will give us the excitement that we want as they buckle down and knuckle down for a couple as well. Fingers crossed as well that we're going to have an interesting session. Update on tooth. It stopped hurting. It's like a dull ache now. So I've slept 2 hours. So that's great, isn't it? It's going to be fantastic. Anyway, let's carry on. I suffer for your entertainment. Binder just losing out a couple of deltas now as he heads down in towards turn 14. Let's check in with our commentary team on TNT Sports. Gavin Emmett alongside Michael Abberty.
Chase pack follow. He looks like he's pushing on here under the bridge.
Yeah, is he going to pull down pit lane? There it is, there's the entrance, so he comes past it and round Victory Corner and into the start-finish straight. So maybe just trying to find a little bit of clear racetrack. Marc Marquez has the best record of anyone around here. 3 times a winner in MotoGP, once in Moto2 and once in 125. So got a decent record over the years. What's it going to be like on a Ducati for him? I'll remind you, he did stick it on the podium with the Honda here a year ago.
Wet weather conditions obviously assisted on the day, but still can deliver around Motegi. The twin ring suits Marc's all-out aggressive, hard-braking style. He's had some great fights over the years. Think back to the Dovey Marc duel in wet weather conditions, 2018 or 19 was it? Yeah, they fought it out tooth and nail, and it is a track that Marc should work well with the GP23 Ducati. Stopping performance is good, first touch grip is good, acceleration not quite matching the GP24, but I think he can keep himself in contention. We'll understand a bit more in this session for sure.
It depends who you speak to.
True.
Isn't it about that? Because, you know, Pecco Bagnaia insists that the GP23 comes better out of the corners, but I'm not quite seeing it so far. He says they've got better grip. It feels it's all, well, I'm certain it's all about how the bikes work that rear tyre, and the GP24 was made, took him a little bit of time to get around it, but to me the 24 seems better in all aspects, to be honest.
Yeah, the comment seems to be quite it's shining through a little bit more from Pecco. The long hanging corners, he and Martin seem to be quite adamant that the GP23 has a little bit more edge grip, a bit more first touch traction, but these acceleration phases, you look at the onboards in Austria, it's really difficult to argue that the GP24 isn't an improved package in terms of acceleration, but it is always the rose-tinted spectacles. You look over at your rival, his bike does something a little better, but the stats show that pretty much consistently, no matter the racetrack, the GP24 has a 2/10 advantage, I want to say, over the rest of the bikes, whether that's the 23, the KTM, the Aprilia, and the Honda and Yamaha, probably more like 4/10, 5/10 of a second. So yeah, work to do for the Japanese manufacturers, but they're making progress.
Yeah, they really are at the moment as well. We've got the opening times in. Jorge Martin from Johan Zarco, Vinales, Bagnaia, Colorado, Miller, Fernandez, Acosta, Di Giannantonio, Morbidelli has your top 10 at the moment. Martin's 2.5 tenths up in that first sector. Many first sectors are actually going red as well, so everybody is finding the time they need to, finding that delta, and slowly but surely getting faster and faster and faster. So it's a good run around out here at the moment. Only a couple of riders actually down. Brad Binder not setting a overall lap time that we were expecting. So yeah, he's got some other delta to find as they come through. Aleix Spargo moving up as well. Vinales goes, Marco Bezzecchi goes second as well. There's Antonio and Acosta all starting to move up the order as well. So a dry track effectively now, finally, after this morning's light rain. It's the first meaningful running that these guys have got out there on the circuit. Still damp under the bridge. Going to take some time to form, but it's okay so far. Martin over the line, and it's a 1:44.320. Aleix second, Zarco goes fifth, Bastianini into 8th position now as well. Lap time cancelled for Nakagami for exceeding track limits. Zarco goes 6th, 1:45.042. So it's Aleix in 3rd position who has the better delta. Here's Maverick Vinales back into the pit lane and saying, yeah, you need to adjust this, get this sorted, do this, do that, and then we'll be in talking. Fabrizio Storinci as well, just become the Aprilia Racing Technical Director after the Valencia Grand Prix, which is breaking news coming from MotoGP just now. Interesting. Let's hear from Gav and Mike.
Going over there, well, that is interesting. He moved from Ducati, if you're not aware, to KTM 3 seasons ago now, same time as Francesco Guidotti, wasn't it, that they both moved across, and Aprilia brought him in. And would that be then at the expense of Romano Beziano?
Yeah, interesting. I wouldn't imagine he'd be completely gone. Maybe moved it. He had an aerodynamics background and obviously a bit of a time at team management. Stepped down from team management to allow the change there. It's
Massimo Rivolo took over as like the sporting, more the director of everything, and then I suppose Paolo Venora.
Yeah, Paolo's in there as well. Difficult to say. Obviously, it's an intriguing one. We need to find out a little more on the ins and outs of that one. But yeah, that's obviously Aprilia showing their intent.
Just right on cue, I've got another email just popped into my inbox.
Wow.
Honda welcome Romano Beziano as their technical director. So I think we've got the answer right there, Michael. Right on cue. It just popped up on my email. Remarkable.
Musical chairs in terms of team management over the last few weeks. So the silly season isn't done yet.
So Romano Beziano into Honda. That is fascinating. That is a few euro being thrown his way, I'm assuming, to go and sort things out at Honda. Wow. I hadn't noticed, I hadn't seen Romano down there, but I imagine he's on gardening leave.
I've seen him somewhere recently. I think it was in Europe, and Misano definitely said hello. So, yeah, it's maybe a recent change of contract slips. So, yeah, that's an interesting move. Obviously, Romano has been a major player in Aprilia's progress since he joined the party in 2015. And yeah, he came in as World Superbike team manager. Then they stopped that team, came into the Gresini team and ran alongside the Gresini squad for a number of years. There is the news.
So he is here. He's not on garden leave just yet. Well, then that begs the interesting question, doesn't it, down there, of what does he see inside the future of Aprilia? As in, what do they let him into in terms of their next bike on into the future?
Yeah, obviously.
Because they've been testing it in Misano, we know that.
For sure.
Because we know, well, we do know that Raul Fernandez was the only one really getting a lot of it. But that Aleix and that had a look. So that means Aleix heading to be test rider at Honda will have a familiar face in El Beziano. So El Capitano as I don't know what you call him, El Don, El Capo. El Capo will be Romano. Right, that's interesting behind the scenes, all happening right in front of us here. Marc Marquez comes back into the Gresini garage. I expect we'll see a lot of ins and outs in this session because there wasn't much to report from earlier today.
Yeah, qualifying practice is what we're going to be mainly seeing in this practice session because we had nothing this morning, so they'll use this session for qualifying practice and, of course, get into the top 10. Free practice tomorrow is mainly going to be around the Grand Prix layout, testing that and see what's going to happen. So Quartararo to 7th, 144.930. So stringing the great laps together. So I'm actually looking forward to this, because usually we always say, oh, why do we need the full hour? Well, we lost about 40 minutes of the 45 this morning. So arguably, get out there, use the entire hour. You've got gifted it back, really. And there's not going to be any rain. Fingers crossed. Yellow flag, sector 3. Someone's gone down on the deck. Can't tell who it is just yet on the monitor. Let's have a look. Sector 3. It's Augusto Fernandez. Augusto Fernandez has stopped at turn 10 and he's picked the bike up through the gravel. The marshal's already out there pulling it back through. Rear's locked, so Augusto Fernandez down at turn 10. Just must have dropped the front of the hairpin and couldn't get out of there quick enough. So a shame there for Augusto, but I kind of expected that, to be fair. Over the line. And Martin, second, 144.657. So improvements coming. Exactly kind of like what we need as well. Lap time cancel for yellow flags though for everybody. Yellow flag now gets retrieved. Quartararo went straight through that yellow flag zone as well, so doesn't get it. Ralph Fernandez coming to the pit lane. Several riders are on slower lap times and are coming into the pit lane. You're coming top 10. Bagnaia, Martin, Bezzecchi, Dicentenio, Acosta, Bastianini, Quartararo, Miller, Alespargo and Morbidelli. That's your top 10 to automatically go through at the moment to Q2 for this one. 23 riders in contention for this weekend's Grand Prix, and so far going really well on it as well. On that front, let's go over back to TNT.
Competitive over the next 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, we always think that the KTM engine in particular is decent, and there's never really been that much. It's not about the character, is it? It's more about the rest of the bike, you know, whether it be suspension and frame package. Obviously, they've been working on the carbon frame a lot down there, how that responds to the tyres. I'd be really surprised if they agreed to it, but then again, it could be part of some wider horse trading. You don't know, do you, with the politics at top level?
Yeah, I'm still getting over the moves of Fabiano Sterlachini going to Honda. That's a massive one. We talked about it so many times.
Go to Aprilia.
Go to Aprilia. But the move then for Honda to pinch Romano Albiciano, it's something that they haven't done previously. Obviously, they don't pinch Italian engineers and bring them in. It just doesn't.
Well, they've done it on electronics. I remember when it was going to Spec Electronics, they had Carlo, who now is in the Repsol Honda. He came across from Yamaha at the time. He'd done really good things because they'd worked for a long time with Magnetti. Honda always had a proprietary system. So they have done it with occasional people, but not at the top level.
No. Technical
director is always a Japanese. We knew that Ken Kawauchi was moving to the test team. You know, you thought there was a change at the top in HRC. So they clearly had a look at what Yamaha had been doing and said, look, we really do need to change our way of doing things, and it sounds like they have. If you hear from Marini and Mir and Zarco in recent weeks, they've been talking about how, you know, we have been trying out a few different things, doing things slightly differently. It's a slow, you know, slow process to do these things. They do move at glacial pace sometimes, the Japanese manufacturer. It's all about slow and steady wins the race, quite literally, in that, you know, if you do things gradually, eventually you will get there. But unfortunately, MotoGP has changed.
Yeah, and it has gone the way of the European manufacturer and their dexterity in ability to develop, coincide a test team that brings parts to the racetrack, try them out in their satellite team, put them on the grid. If they work, then they immediately go to the factory team. And I think every team is following suit. Yamaha have done it. Honda look to be in the works of doing it. The fact that obviously they've changed up with Romano Albiciano coming in there, and obviously Fabiano was a surprise move from Ducati to KTM. Then I had heard a few rumours that he and Sebastian Rees, who was the original technical director at KTM, were butting heads a little bit, wanting to go different directions, and ultimately the Austrian won out, and Fabiano was off to pastures new. I expected it to be Honda, so I'm surprised to see it as a move to Aprilia, but obviously brings knowledge of Ducati's way of working, of KTM's way of working, and Jorge Martin gets the benefit of both. So yeah, work to do at Aprilia to bring a little bit of stability there for Jorge Martin for the future. But yeah, they're making some bold moves in Noalio as well. So yeah, interesting times.
Pedro Costa just went up into 3rd place. I feel like this could be one of his shots here to have a real stick at the leaders if he could. He's, as we've seen, really good on the brakes, really good into tight corners. He's got a lot of them here to work with. Michael, as it stands, Bagnaya's top by 1/4 of a second from Jorge Martin, and another 1/4 of a second, 3/10 back, is Acosta in 3rd. But Marquez came back after only a couple of laps out there. So did Bagnaia. He's done 2 flyers and straight away making changes. The loss of a session this morning means it's compressed all of Friday.
A simple bleeding of the brakes, especially around here when it's such hard braking. If you go out and you don't have that initial bite, so Pecco's back in the pit box and you can see the Brembo brake fluid out there, the guys down at the front caliper just bleeding a little bit of air through, just to give them pressure, give them feeling from the front brake lever. Oh, so important.
But when you've got here, as they usually have, is either shrouds to direct air onto them. Often they have these kind of ducts to keep the brakes cool, because this is one of the put my teeth in as well. It's one of the places where you get to use the high mass disc here at Motegi, one of the hardest braking, if not the hardest braking circuit on the whole MotoGP calendar, Michael. Then it doesn't make that easy, does it, to do simple little procedures on the brake?
Yeah, exactly. It is the hardest because of the energy that's put through the discs and the braking systems, and they are mandated. So the biggest in terms of the circumference, you can't choose the high mass or low mass, but you have to use the big circumference discs here. 350, is it?
355?
55, I think they've gone up gradually over the years. There's so many options now. But yeah, they are big dinner plates, fill the entire wheel. It's hard for the mechanics to change the front wheel in and out with those discs on. The calipers, it's all dry brake systems, but there is a little bit of potential still to get air in the system, and it can make a little bit of free play in your brake or a little bit of drop in performance. So yeah, quick bleed through a bit of fresh oil, and it sometimes makes all the difference out there.
Marc Marquez running wide. Had a tough start to this session. His best lap earlier was way off. Well, it still is, 2.9 off Pecco Bagnaia's in his first run. We're going to have that problem again, because you are going to have to run the hard front tyre here, Michael. We're going to have it. I know it's not the heat-treated tyre that we've got here in Motegi, but we'll have that issue, won't we, with the soft pushing the hard front? Because
yeah.
You've got to have the hard front.
It needs it. You need the braking stability from the hard front, but you release the front brake into, say, the hairpin or downhill into turn 11, the last part of the racetrack, and you get a little bit of push where you don't want it. Likewise, into the victory curve, you release the brake there, you get a bit of push from the front tyre. It just means the rear tyre, sorry, the extra grip, you feel a little bit of push momentarily, and it's at the wrong part of the turn, but then you have to pull it back a little bit and use the extra grip to gain your lap time from the rear tyre. So it's yeah, it is tricky. It's going to be one that the riders will need to adjust their setup accordingly.
Yeah, just something to bear in mind as our weekend goes on. Temperatures fine out there. We've said at the start, high 20s. Track temperature not that much higher because there hasn't been much sun on it, but just over the 30-degree mark for this one. Very similar to what it was earlier, despite the spots of rain that were hanging around. As you can see, still a few grey clouds overhead. So important to get as much running while you can. And there is talk of more rain in the morning. This is where the rain's coming from. Now, as Mark heads down towards turn 5. See a few grey clouds.
Yeah, nothing big though.
Just have to really respect him. We said it in Indonesia a lot, even though it was warm.
Oh, big twitch
through the S there.
Oof, that'll get your attention.
What's that? The 130, isn't it? 130R, that corner. And yes, it's a 130 radius corner, but have a look.
Just turns in, the bike twitches.
Oh, the front. I was just saying how, with the hard tyre, you have to respect it. Give it time to
warm up.
temperature.
Yeah.
Comes around on him. We were on board with Marquez. He set a fairly steady outlap, so the right shoulder just a little bit below the optimum working temperature, and he tips through the 130R into the throttle. The rear comes around, pushes the front, and his reactions and ability to release his outside foot. This is Salvador is just cruising it, but it's a long way back to be able to pull off those type of overtakes and hit your apex and not cost you a tenth or two on acceleration off the turn.
Well, Martin straight in. He does always like a look at the data, doesn't he? Mid-session, have a look and see what's going on where. There's Bagnaia, heads out back onto the racetrack. Oh, there's Susie Perry. I don't think you've heard of her.
Hello, Susie.
She's down there, filming something, I'm sure, for later this weekend.
Intro.
Coming here this weekend, Michael, I have, and this is before we see anything, I had a Bagnaia feeling just because of the layout. And I know Jorge Martin's that little bit lighter, but something about the way Bagnaia is a demon on the brakes, about how he brings it down to an apex. It feels like the kind of racetrack his Ducati packet, him and the Ducati, works well at.
It does, yeah. The way he works his tyres, the way he loads the front end, the way he likes the shorter stroke, Öhlins forks, 135mm rather than 140mm of travel. It just gives him an ability and a feeling to squash the front tyre, stop it all the way into the apex. And that's so important, it's crucial, the final bit of braking. We've seen it catch him out at times this year, but likewise, the same has happened to Jorge Martin. You're trailing the brake into the turn, the front tyre locks, and it caught Pecco out in his home track in Misano, braking down into La Quercia. So yeah, it's on paper a good, really strong track for Pecco, but you look at the stats and Jorge Martin in the sprint last year, ultra fast. It rained on Sunday and he was able to deliver. Mark should be strong on a hard-braking racetrack. May lose out on acceleration a little bit to Martin and Pecco Bagnaia around the twin ring and Motegi, but I think on paper I think it should be Jorge's, well, I say Jorge's, but Pecco's to lose. Jorge's going to take the fight to him, and yeah, Mark right in the mix.
Marc Marquez goes up into 12th position, then 145.020. So everyone now, just a couple of riders out there on the circuit. Bagnaia, Quartararo, Vinales, Aleix Spargro, Morbidelli, Marc Marquez, Nakagami, Rins, Ralph Hernandez, Salvador and Gardner. They're the ones out on the circuit right now. I know it's back in the pit lane, but they're just lapping, getting used to the circuit. About 37 minutes to go of this one, so it's perfect time really just to get out there, see who's what, really understand this track, and then just go from there, see what you can have and what atmosphere can build up at the same time. But yellow flag sector 1, who's in that first sector who hasn't moved up? Ralph Hernandez has, I believe, gone down at turn 3. Yeah, Ralph Hernandez in the track house is down at turn 3. The first left-hander on this twin ring Motegi circuit. And here he is, the front end's buckled, he's up and walking away, and they'll pull that bike out the gravel and get it going again. Mark's first 2 sectors down by 0.4 of a second, Bagnaia's down by 10. So now very much the situation out here is literally just get used to the circuit, get used to the conditions and go from there and then push up and see what's going to happen over the 2. So it's just building up lap times at the moment here at Twin Ring.
Stop it up. Easy to get in there a little hot.
Same there at the 90-degree corner. Right now upping the pace here onto the start-finish straight. Marquez to the line, will go up the order into 6th spot. Great record around this place, but as with a lot of places that he's had success at in the past, when he comes on the Ducati, Friday is the important one, and having lost the morning, really not too much to learn earlier today. How much will that set him back? As he said, he needs a perfect weekend, and unfortunately hasn't been one. There is still, Michael, talk of more rain to come for the rest of the weekend. So that's always a little, quite literally, a cloud hanging over us.
harder for the championship contenders than the others. It's an opportunistic moment for the likes of Jack Miller and Marquez, but for Pecco and Jorge Martin, when you get those spots of rain just interrupting proceedings and just makes it more difficult to predict. To be precise, you have to take a few risks that you ideally don't want to be doing, but it's yeah, the nature of the beast.
Marco Bezzecchi currently running fourth. Good start to the session. Him and Fabio Di Gianantonio, fourth and fifth. With Marc Marquez in sixth. Ducati are in 6 of the top 7 positions as things stand. Only the GP24 of Frankie Morbidelli and Alex Marquez, who's probably a little bit second-hand after his Indonesian weekend, are outside that top 7. And Fabio Quartararo is in 8th. Pedro Costa, the fly in the Ducati ointment as things stand. Maverick Vinales 9th, and Jack Miller having a decent start to the weekend in 10th. Miller has always gone well around Motegi. On board with Maverick. To turn 1. Double apex right, this one. Here's Massimo Rivola, who's just made that signing of Fabiano Sterlachini to replace Romano Albesiano. Good man, actually, Fabiano. Good to talk to. Definitely got a lot more to say than Romano I will say. Romano can be very much an engineer.
Yeah, we tried to interview Romano a few times and he just wasn't as forthcoming as, as I expected. He very guarded on camera, let's say, but full of information and knowledge, and yeah, bright engineer to lead the project for Honda in the future.
Maverick Vinales up through the S-curve. Up the hill there, isn't it? There are elevation changes here. It drops down, back down for this, the V. That's the corner pretty much that put paid to Danny Pedrosa's career. Horrible shoulder injury in there. Throttle sticking on as we go up to the hairpin, top of the hill now. And this is the back straight, the downhill straight. As Jorge Martin leaves the pit lane. Drops down significantly from here. Right into a point of the apex, still dropping away from you. Very, very tricky corner.
Yeah, probably for me the toughest because it's so downhill and approach. The camera flattens it out as it typically does, and you're struggling to pull it down. You're trying to take a few liberties in the braking zones, go just 1 meter later, and you really will have to grab another maybe 2 bar of front brake pressure. That risks lock in the front, it risks running a little bit wider, but yeah, it's a part of the racetrack which sometimes, we see it already today in Moto 3 and Moto 2, the last sector makes a huge difference in the lap time, so it's important to be accurate and get it right every time.
Yeah, Bastianini. Up towards the hairpin, onto the back straight. Just had a word in from pit lane that when Maverick Vinales came back in, he was complaining of chatter, and I think it is going to be one of those places, isn't it, Michael, where this new tyre is going to just take some getting your head around. We've still heard it, particularly from the KTM runners. Jack Miller's line last time out was, if my teeth weren't glued
Someone's down. Someone's just gone down. Big one there. Big accident for Enea Bastianini. He's up and okay. The bike timbled over twice. And that, where is that the circuit? Is that coming down? Enea is the fastest in the quickest rider on the planet. Well, it's down at 10:14. It's into Victory Corner, and Bastianini has gone down at Victory Corner on end. Oh, that's into the pit lane as well. That was lucky you didn't fly back across the track there. So turns in, front buckles just completely out of random. He had no chance of saving that one. Again, it's exactly the same as what happened in the Grand Prix on Sunday a week ago in Indonesia. Turns in, front just dips. That's a really strange accident. Really strange.
He'll jog back. He'll be feeling that one in the morning.
Ducati don't like these moments when the fairing detaches and the photographers could get a snap of the flywheel on the side of the V4 engine, so engineers will be calculating its diameter and trying to work out what mass it is on the end of their crankshaft.
Give him a lift here. There is Davide Tardozzi welcoming back both his riders, but that looks like the sort of incident we might get this weekend when things start getting tight. You know, people are going out for one time lap. Yeah, there's our fan who suggests that he's the cutest rider. Well, he's the one in the most pain at the moment. But when we get to the end of this session, Michael, and people have only got a couple of laps to get their tyre working, just need to be cautious of this kind of thing.
Yeah, despite the high temperatures a week ago in Indonesia, just looking at, there he is, still got two fingers on the front brake as it locks there. So it is, it's going to catch a few out. Even though you've got high ambient, you've got a lot of load in the tyre on the out lap, I think you're going to have to give it your first flare. Oh, look at his neck through the gravel. I tell you what, he'd be kick off the gloves there to shake the stones out of them, but he'd be feeling a little second hand, a bit of whiplash following that one, no doubt.
80-mile-an-hour crash, that one.
His neck ragdolls. Oh.
Hasn't been here for the last 2 years with injury, but says he enjoys riding around Motegi. Right, at the top, still Bagnaia leads this man by a quarter of a second. What tyres is he running in? The soft rear, hard front.
That's Martin,
It's been, other than Marini out there with the medium rear, it is the entire field with hard front, soft rear tyre at the moment.
And I think Miller's just got out on the medium rear, having a look maybe for Sunday. But as you say, Marini with the medium front, which we haven't seen
Gardner's
that much
got
all,
medium front, medium rear.
I suppose it's a case of, look, if you're going to go for stability, you're always going hard. A halfway house doesn't really cut it.
No, you lose both. You don't get the stability in the braking, you don't get turning off the soft front in the mid-corner. So, yeah, you're... the halfway house doesn't quite get there no matter which way you set up the direction of your bike, so that's why we quite often see it being one option or the other between soft and hard. And actually, I think the medium, I know it does change from track to track sometimes in the nomination, but usually the riders just don't have a good feeling with a tyre, and it's not very common to go into the machine.
So Martin, that lap, 0.9 off Bagnaia's time. Yeah, Bastianini maybe a change of leathers for him. Bike's going to take some work. On board with Marquez running 7th. Last lap from him, 12 seconds off. He talked before the weekend, Michael, that the one thing now, he says the championship's gone, it's about Bagnaia and Martin. I need to work on qualifying. That needs to be my goal for the remainder of the season. Make sure that when I'm on the factory bike next year, I know what I'm doing.
You think back to when Mark was dominant in 2019, even then he wasn't the most special qualifier in the world. He could put it on pole without a doubt, but he's never been a one-lap time attack guy, and we've seen it when Honda was no longer the favoured choice. It was always a case of looking for a toe, looking for a marker. He needed a little bit of a gauge to get the one-lap time attack, the outright pace. The likes of Pecco just seem to be natural in the environment of putting everything aside and just focusing on using the grip from a rear tyre, whereas Mark's such an attacking rider, just throws everything at the front end, maybe doesn't use the most from a new tyre. So it's it's difficult to change your DNA, something he's going to have to work on though.
I see something in the end of one of Pecco's gloves. He's getting the screwdriver in on it, but that can happen, can't it, sometimes? Maybe a bit of the lining.
Yeah, sometimes a thread even can, they're usually double threaded in the gloves, so it won't have hold, but sometimes a thread can come loose and down in there, and it just bugs you. And riders are both superstitious and comfort driven. So if you've got a pair of gloves you're comfortable with, you'll wear them all season. I remember Fabio Quartararo telling us he wore a pair of gloves, I think it was a full MotoGP season just a few years ago.
Marquez isn't on it. It seems like pace is quite variable. I was wondering about this issue with the vibrations. Some Marquez fans here, as you imagine. They're lively up there. All having fun. Get all sorts at the Japanese Grand Prix. Every single rider has their own fan club. Might be one or two strong, but they'll get the little mementos, the little key rings, or little cakes or biscuits or something.
Typically, the MotoGP riders go on a little bit of a tour here. They get taken out to greet the fans on a Friday afternoon, and usually there's the most polite queues of patient waiting Japanese fans with gifts for their favorite riders, and it's one of the most genuine interactions, I think, wherever we go over the world. They're massively passionate and always bring a little trinket or a little treat.
Costa 7/10 off halfway round. See what I mean about lap times dropping significantly? I was looking at Martin's, and he was 9/10 off the headline lap times.
Yeah, but the times are fast. Low 44s with not a lot of rubber down. When you look at race pace, the lap record does stand in the race from 2 years ago to Jack Miller at a 45.1, pole time at a 43.1. So we're 9/10 outside the time attack lap for pole position, but 44.0 is a pretty good pace at this stage in the weekend. So yeah, I think the drop is there at the moment, but you look, there's not a lot of rubber down on any part of this racetrack. It has been one of those days with not a huge number of laps in slick conditions for MotoGP this morning.
Acosta up into 4th position. As we take a look at him coming out into the 130R. Turns in, watching the front, doesn't buckle. Let's see it at the other side, and turn 7. Elbow down and knee down. He is getting used to this sport, isn't he? He's absolutely loving it. What is strange for me is that this is the last session of the weekend. I'm going to be in the commentary box because Megan will be taking you through tomorrow, FP2 and qualifying, and the Tissot Sprint. I, hopefully, will be joining audio only for the Tissot Sprint, but I'll be on the train. So Megan will be commentating, and I'll be doing analysis on that. And then, fingers crossed, Sunday, Moto3, Moto2, MotoGP will be me and Megan in the commentary box, but I'll be in a hotel room, and Megan will be in the commentary box running the stream. So that's going to be a fascinating weekend for you all back home as well, to see how it all operates. Hope you're going to enjoy it. Certainly is going to be weird for me and Megan, I can tell you. First time we've commentated like that, not in the same room, for MotoGP. So that's going to be interesting. Having to use online stuff and webcams and talk to each other. Fingers crossed as well, my TV picture's stabilised. Back now at 140.072 from Martin Vinales, Acosta, Bezzecchi, your top 5 at the moment here. With 21 minutes to go, Martin being followed by Bagnaia as well. Oh, them's the brakes. Also, I'm trying not to talk a lot in this session. That's why I'm letting TNT do the commentary, because I'm trying to save my tooth as well.
Giving him that information. On board with Jorge. Up through the S, 7 and 8. See how the track goes uphill and drops back down for the V corner. Gas again. 3 gears, then back down. Tightest corner on the circuit, the hairpin. Ground being eaten up by Pecco. It's his strength there.
Still here, the little bit of anti-jerk in the real slow corners. It's pretty much gone from MotoGP now. These electronic systems and engine delivery modes are so sophisticated, but that little bump you hear is the first touch of the throttle at a slow first gear corner. That's just the electronics. Oh, he's just rolled out of it there, yep. And not giving Pecco too much sight of his rear wheel and where he's strong and where he's not. A little bit of kidology between the two championship contenders here on a Friday afternoon.
When does Pecco get the notification that Jorge Martin's following you? Because at the moment, Bagnaia has the edge in terms of pace.
Yeah, we did get to look at the system the teams have, so you know that someone's going to be jumping on the door interface now, being followed by number 89, Jorge Martin. So Pecco will already be aware because Jorge rolled out of it under the bridge. But yeah, interesting to see if these first sector times are fast from Pecco, if he's pushing on, or yeah, 2/10 adrift, so still not too far away. As we mentioned, there is a drop in the tyre performance after a few laps.
Yeah, Martin's rolled out of that one now. So Pecco can continue on his way through 6. That lovely 130R. Backing it in up the hill through 7 and 8, the S-curve. Bagnaia needs to make inroads this weekend. 21 points, the gap between himself and Martin. It was 24 at the start of the Indonesian Grand Prix weekend. 5 rounds remaining, 185 points still on offer. Still a long way to go. 21 points. Last year he had an advantage. This year it's Martin who leads and he's doing the chasing. And seeming to suggest that's a better place to be. We'll find out this weekend. Of course, we have got all the action coming up for you throughout the weekend here on TNT Sports 2. We're on air on Saturday morning, just midnight. So through the night tonight on Friday, midnight, we're on air with all the practice sessions. MotoGP qualifying coming up just before 3 a.m. Then we have the qualifying for Moto3 and Moto2. We'll have all the build-up to the sprint from 6:30 in the morning on Saturday. All of it on TNT Sports 2. And then on Sunday, we have the warm-ups from 1:30. And the races, Moto3 just before 3 a.m, Moto2 4 a.m, and the build-up to MotoGP 5:30 in the morning. Of course, all the post-race action in Checker Flag if you're not able to stay up with us. But this could be a key point of the season. We're going to say that pretty much every race that remains this year. But with the gap toing and froing, it is...
Oh, it's a great weekend.
Either gone up or gone down at every single race over the last few. It's not gone in one direction consistently over those last 6 or 7 races. Seesawing one way and then the other. What will it be after the Japanese Grand Prix weekend? A lot of riders back in the pits. We're about to get to that point, Michael. Is this where we're at with Fabio Quartararo already? He's just gone out on track. I think this might be it. This might be his first go at it. He said top 10, and I fancy our chances to be in the mix again.
They're certainly moving it forward in terms of one-lap time attack mode for Aprilia. It's been a weak point for them over the last couple of seasons.
Yamaha, of course.
What did I say?
Aprilia. I don't know.
Like that
maybe something we didn't know.
Marvin Vinales up in 3rd on the Aprilia, but yeah, that wasn't who I was talking about. So yeah, Aprilia, they can actually extract a little bit of performance from a new tyre, but Yamaha have struggled. In Indonesia, it was much better in terms of the direction, the ability to extract, but here with a fresh soft rear tyre in the first sector, it's not enough for Quartararo. He's maybe just favouring the front tyre a little bit. We know the hard front does take a lap to kick in, and he may well build into it for his 2nd lap around.
That was his best qualifying of the season, 6th, when we were in Indonesia. Out of the V corner, up to the top of the hill, and the hairpin. You know, Yamaha had a period where it was the bike to be on around Motegi. It never feels like a Yamaha kind of circuit, but around the Rossi 2008 they won, then Lorenzo 9, 13 and 14, but all around that time they were there and in the mix, weren't they?
I always surprised, or was surprised by Yamaha's ability around here, because it's all hard braking, hard acceleration, but there's an opportunity, you you just look at this turn 1 to 2 section to release the brake, carry momentum and corner speed. It is a personal best for Quartararo. He keeps it rolling in the final sector, but he needs to nail turn 1 and 2 here, use the strength of the Yamaha mid-turn and gain a little bit back.
Something that they've given up, isn't it, in recent times? Okay, skipping its way. It's all on its nose down there towards turn 11. Everything pushing you deeper and deeper into the corner. Stumping on the rear brake. But rear brake's not that much good when your wheels
not on the ground. Yeah, it obviously it works when it does come down. And you can hear from the onboard shots the engine, it almost shuts down as the exhaust valve closes up and just increases the negative torque to help the riders pull down to the apex.
So a little twitch from Ralph Fernandez as he comes out the hairpin. Currently running 18th. It hasn't quite gone to plan so far, his escapade on the 24 version of the Aprilia. This is where Enea Bastianini crashed just a few moments ago through victory. Good lap this. You can see how much he's fighting that bike up and out of victory corner. There's a little crest there, and Fernandez brings it through and up into 5th place.
Yeah, you could see he was attacking it all the way around the lap, and it does seem like these riders are favouring one lap time attack, even with the hard front tyre. Fabio the same, 1 lap time attack, and he's on slow lap. Either he will go back down pit lane or have a breather and go again.
Because of that, I'm interested to see Jack Miller, who's been doing okay in this session so far. He's gone with the soft front, so I'm just intrigued to see how that might fare. Maverick Vinales on a really good lap halfway round. Marc Marquez has spent a lot of time in the garage, it feels like, in this session, but here we go, his first go at it.
Yeah, we've seen the boards up, so obviously bodywork's off, no photographer pictures allowed in pit lane, so they've changed something a little bit more drastic. It can be a little bit with linkage or something that they just don't want anyone to get a shot off the lowering device, so something that isn't easily changed in the mid-session.
What do you make of the reports that the Marshals had used the wrong fire extinguisher on his bike on Sunday? Yeah,
the story.
What they'd used wasn't the one, and it caused a lot of damage to other components inside the bike. Yeah, it wasn't the one that would have been for an oil fire or whatever. Yeah, they were a little bit unhappy apparently at Grassini as Maverick Vinales goes up into 2nd place. That's a really competitive lap time from Maverick.
Yeah, we haven't seen a lot.
Yeah, it's a 1:44.084. So now the times started to improve. Jack Miller up into 4th, and Maverick Vinales has the fastest first set. So with 12 minutes to go, this is now starting to get to the punch point. Marc Marquez, Gas MotoGP Japan, says, well, hello everyone. Binder top, 1:43.879. Brad Binder to the top. That's displaced everybody. Marc Marquez now 10th, Bastianini 11th. Lap time cancelled from Luca Marini due to exceeding track limits. Maverick Vinales, hard front, soft rear tyre. 10th up in the first sector. Sector 2, a 10th up as well. So time improving with 12 to go.
Which is what we were expecting to be the one that would count down towards the V-curve.
I always remember Maverick Vinales here, his only year in Moto 2 on the Yellow Pages Kalex Cedopon's machine, and he just looked unreal, and I was like, he's going to make a fantastic MotoGP rider, and he has done a little bit storied in terms of his career to this point, but yeah, he looks so good around this racetrack.
Just lost a little bit in that 3rd split. We have the 90-degree corner under the bridge. This double apex left, really tricky and fast corner, and then you set yourself up for the run down the home straight here. Miller and Binder's time also still in touch. Miller's just dropping off. As Vinales comes to the line now, he improves. It's Binder top, Vinales 2nd, Bagnaia 3rd, and Miller in 4th. And when there's only 2 Ducatis in the top 7, you reckon it might change a little bit towards the sharp end too?
I think we're going to have 3 KTMs in the top 5 here as Pedro Acosta comes around to complete his lap.
Jack Miller to the line. Has he got anything in that last sector? No. That's just seen the best of his tyres on that first salvo. Down through the box for Acosta into 90 degrees. Gian Antonio is about to change the complexion of this top 7. Marc Marquez also. I feel like Marc Marquez might have a second go at it. You know, he's trying to get qualifying sorted. It all starts with getting the best out of your hard front tyre. So as Acosta goes up into second, it's KTM, Gas 1-2. Bezzecchi into 7th.
I think Pedro made a slight mistake in sector 3. He was attacking so much on the final direction changes. Rear wheel is off the ground at the chicane as he went into victory curve, but I think there's another lap in Pedro here for sure.
Marc Marquez lost no time in that final sector, so he goes up into 5th place now. But Gian Antonio, is he going to go ahead? No, into 8th. That pushes Mir outside, but Joan Mir had put in a time in the top 10. It's encouraging, isn't it, for Honda, just to be even talking about Joan Mir not being in the bottom 4.
It's good to see Joan Mir in contention for a Q2 spot, and obviously Zarco actually getting direct. He didn't go direct through, he had to go through Q1 1 week ago, but promising nonetheless. So yeah, the Hondas are on their way up.
Full commitment there, wasn't it, from Pedro Acosta. Down towards the V curve. Frankie Morbidelli also on a decent lap here. This is a tough one to call, Michael. I think we're going to get a top 10 here covered by, you know, 0.2, 0.3 of a second. Going to be very, very tight as Frankie comes under the bridge.
I do think this lap from Acosta puts him top of the order. He's very strong in sector 4. Just loses a little bit in sector 3 again on this lap, but I think it's going to be enough. So yeah, we're going to get another go at it though.
Morbidelli into 8th. Nakagami goes 14th, and Pedro Acosta does take over at the top of 143.754. Still the big hitters, your Martins and your Bagnaiyas have not put a lap in, but on our timing screens, their names have just popped up. They've got red indicators. Bagnaia in the first 3 sectors on the racetrack. Alex Marquez went 11th. Marc Marquez goes into 3rd place now, but it's Pecco Bagnaia I'm going to be keeping an eye on here, Michael, because it looks like Bagnaia could be about to go back to the top of the timesheet. There he is, out the final corner. Bagnaia to the line. Goes into 3rd place.
Yeah, the last sector for the KTMs is a bit strong here, so Pecco's able to match them all the way around, but yeah, let's see what Jorge Martin's got to offer.
He was just trying to get his wheels in line, wasn't he, Martin, to be able to drop it down into turn 11. Aleix Espargaro using his mate as a marker. Will Martin
look
go
at that.
to the top? He is someone who's able to pull a 1 lap out when he wants. More pole positions for him than anybody else this year.
3rd. Okay.
And he goes up into 3rd place ahead of Bagnaia, crucially, but already got the top 5 covered by 0.2 of a second now.
Aleix moving up the order.
Which is nearly 3 miles long. Just shows incredibly close at the top level in MotoGP. Johan Zarco just went into 14th. Again, the Hondas are fishing in a different pond in the last couple of weekends.
Well, Bagnaia is
Just
improving.
a little green light from the onboard camera of Pecco Bagnaia. That tells him he is up on his indicator at the 2nd split. We're going to see the 3rd split as he's a little wide there at the hairpin. Just the bike skipped and jumped in the braking zone.
It just didn't settle, did it? Quite how he would like. Doesn't matter, because he's still under through that sector, but how much will it cost him down this straight?
Well, he's following Fabio Quartararo as he comes down into turn 14, so he'll be able to punch it hard through the V corner and then up towards victory corner as well. Up we go again. Digi's coming to the pit lane. Is Bagnaia enough? Down to the 1st sector, personal best sectors 2 and 3, fastest overall, and it's a 143.754. Martin as well, up by 91 thousandths of a second as he comes up towards the line. Is he quicker or not? Is the question I think we're about to answer in a few moments' time. Everyone desperately trying to have a differential gap between them all. Into victory corner for Martin, up towards the line as well. Jorge Martin fastest, 1:43.568. So 6 minutes to go, and everybody on the lap times to beat then here.
1:43.568 and Martini's on top. Bagnaia and Acosta tied for second. Bagnaia ahead by virtue of a faster second best lap. Brad Binder fourth, Marc Marquez in fifth. And it's Vinales, Miller, Digi, Morbidelli and Bezzecchi rounding out the top 10. Alex Marquez, the first of the riders missing out and set to go through Q1, but there is still time, 5 minutes remaining. Lots of riders have just gone back out onto the racetrack. Martin and Bagnaia just finished. Will they get another go here, Michael?
It'll be close. They have time to pop down pit lane and get another tyre and one flyer, but it's, yeah, a little bit close to the wire. Maybe they're just banking on those first salvos being enough to get them through to Q2.
That's probably right.
Yeah, true. Very true. This lap from Fabio, it's enough to bring him inside the top 10, just about, if he keeps it rolling here through this final sector.
Fabio Quartararo to the line. 18th at the moment, had been inside that top 10, only goes 13th with 4 minutes remaining. As we said before, lots of riders on their outlaps. Everyone with the hard front, soft rear, apart from Jack Miller, soft front and rear, and Remy Gardner, who's gone with the medium option on the front.
Jack does tend to favour a softer front tyre. He's always the outlier, the one that does try something a little different, and it can work for him on occasion. It has done in the past here when he dominated in 2022.
Bastianini had a spill earlier in this session. If you are just joining us, we've just got under 4 minutes to go. This is afternoon practice here from the Grand Prix of Japan. Bastianini having a huge crash through the victory chicane, but he's right in touch on this lap, and that looked sideways, but it could be okay for Bastianini. Out of the hairpin, third split now, and he's right in touch, currently in 17th. And he's going to go into the mix with this one. Down the hill he drops, down to turn 11, and again has to have a couple of goes at it.
Yellow flags out in the first sector. Sorry for the caution, Gav. And it's one of the KTMs. Oh, and it's Jack Miller. So Jack Attack has binned it in turn 3, the first of the left-handers. Bastianini 17th at the moment, goes up into second position. 1:43.605. So a lot more times are being improved upon. I thought we'd be struggling in this one, but actually we're getting quite competitive and quite thorough between it all. So it's working. But yes, the yellow flags are out indeed out there on the circuit. So Quartararo 10th fastest, 1:44.401. He gets himself into the top 10 with 2:30 to go. Haha! 2:30! 2:30. Ha! Yeah, if you're just joining us, I've got a severe tooth problem at the moment. That's why I haven't been talking much in this session. I'm trying to make it better because I've got Brands Hatch over the weekend for the British Touring Car Championship live on JBMotorsports on the main channel. That's why we're on number 2 for MotoGP. British Touring Cars, we're trackside. We've got cameras, we've got footage, we've got interviews. Join us for Touring Car season finale. A champion will be crowned. Binder, very happy with that. So a KTM. Miller may be in the gravel, but it's a 1:43.436 for him. He goes top at the moment with 2 minutes to go. Bezzecchi, 11th, 1:44.396. Everyone just starting up their next lap times, but they're all getting cancelled for the yellow flag.
Got to the top, and they were really banking on being competitive here this weekend, and it looks like it might be working. Taka Nakagami.
Yellow sector 2.
Way, Michael, he's just got, Neil's not here, by the way, he's not well. Johan Zarco's had a crash.
Zarco's crashed from T5.
That's great for the Japanese rider at home. Last ever GP as a full-time MotoGP rider.
Got to be his teammate to park it and get a yellow flag out, though, isn't it? To try and hold on to it.
There's a good lap coming in from Maverick Vinales. Sector 3's the decisive one at the moment, getting out of the hairpin onto the long straight. Gives away a 10th.5 or thereabouts in Sector 3.
There's lots of riders about to come up to that yellow flag. It's just been brought in, though. Yeah, with Marc Marquez, he might well have just have avoided it, I think. Maverick Vinales then, currently running in 6th. What do we say about the times being tight at the top? Well, the top 7 covered by half a second. but I think it's about to narrow again as Maverick Vinales goes into 4th place. That's the top 6 covered by 0.3 of a second. Marquez out of the V-curve, much better lap on this occasion. He's got his brother for company too.
More lap times cancelled
as he comes into the hairpin. Oh,
my goodness me!
Marquez all attacking into the hairpin, but he gets a little back.
Mark's having a go, the bike twitching every which way. Checker flag is out, the session is over. Lap times are now starting to come through. This is a crucial point then for MotoGP's Japanese Grand Prix weekend. This decides the running order. Di Giannantonio's currently the one at risk. He's P10. Then we've got Bezzecchi just below Quartararo. Here we go across the line. Marc Marquez, 7th at the moment. Over the line. Goes second, 143.469. Acosta. Alex Marquez gets through. Digi's out of it, but Digi goes 9th. Nakagami's out of it. Miller's 10th. Everyone else now confirming the top 10 positions. Not really everyone on lap times that can bump them up. A lot got cancelled due to the yellow flags from Johan Zarco. Bezzecchi looking okay. Hard front, soft rear. The same for Aleix Espargaro. That's going to be fighting it between the two. Mia's out. So is Raul Fernandez. Rins, Marini, Salvadori, Garner. They've all taken the flag. So Vinales is safe enough. I don't think he's going to be moved. Binder's safe. Aleix struggling down into turn 14. Really getting the rear of the bike stepped out. In we go again. In for a penny, in for a pound. Into victory corner. Pull the throttle back. Over the line we go for Aleix Espargaro. 15th. Doesn't improve. Here's Marco Bezzecchi. 12th at the moment. Franco Morbidelli goes 13th. Does Bezzecchi go through? Yes! Bezzecchi kicks out Jack Miller. Nakagami across the line. Doesn't make it. Stays 12th. Morbidelli 13th. Zarco pits. Quartararo stays 14th. And that's your game. Top 10 for qualifying number 2. Brad Binder, Marc Marquez, Jorge Martin, Pedro Acosta, Enea Bastianini, Maverick Vinales, Pecco Bagnaia, Alex Marquez, Fabio Di Giannantonio and Marco Bezzecchi. Having to go through Q1, Jack Miller, Takiki Nakagami, Franco Morbidelli, Fabio Quartararo, Aleix Espargaro, Juan Mir, Johan Zarco, Raul Fernandez, Augusto Fernandez, Alex Rins, Luca Marini, Lorenzo Salvadori and Remy Gardner. That's your running order for Q1 and for Q2. What a session. Let's go back to TNT.
He's been running a bit of an older bike. Looks like he's got that wider fairing on now, though, Nakagami. It would be great, wouldn't it, if he could, as his last as a full-time rider at home in Japan, if he could sign off with getting through to Q2 would be such a boost for them. It's a KTM on top, though, Michael, in Brad Binder. They're competitive this weekend. The problem is there's 7 other Ducatis inside that Q2 session.
Yeah, but Brad Binder leading the way on a Friday afternoon. Oh, Fabio not too happy. He maybe run out of fuel, need some assistance back to... he's pretty close to the pit lane entry, I think, there. Trying to see where he's at.
Not quite sure.
Oh, it's the turn 3 entrance to the long lap loop, but you can get back into the pit boxes quite easily there.
I think he was hoping that he could duck off the racetrack there,
buried it.
He's got stuck in the gravel. There's Diego Gubellini, his crew chief, looking a bit confused with what's going on there. Good finish to the session there for Marc Marquez, Michael, but it felt like he just took a little bit of coming today.
You could see his work rate on the final lap, how he was forcing it to fit at sector 3 but gaining time. So yeah, that's always good if he can just go to his normal MO of attack every single corner and pull a lap time out of the bag. That's what he needs for qualifying tomorrow afternoon.
Jorge Martin with the upper hand in terms of the title battle. He's 3rd, Bagnaia in 7th. I don't know who I give the day to. It's felt like Bagnaia's had an edge in terms of pace. Quite a hard one to read. Apologies if you caught any of Jack's language down there. Furious at himself for dropping it. And then he's just going to miss out on Q2. But what he knows, Michael, is that he'll have a job going through in Q1 because, as you see, as he drops away from it, so easily done in turn 3.
You can see how angry he is, and it's not just because of this simple crash there folding the front. It's the knock-on effect it has the rest of the weekend and the work to get through into Q2, how important it is.
Yeah, a lot of frustration. Meanwhile, on the other side of the factory KTM garage, job well done for Brad Binder. You know, he was so far off in Indonesia, having started down in 19th on the grid, just, you know, had to go through Q1, never got it working in that session. Fall back to 8th on the Sunday in the race there, but a real turnaround in fortunes to be top of the timesheets after day 1 here in Japan. Go on then, call it. Martin Bagnaia, who's got the upper hand?
I think Martin. I know the rhythm seemed to be in Bagnaia's favour from the longer runs in that session, but just the little bit of lack of traction I've seen off the last sector and his inability to put the lap together to match Binder or Marquez or Martin. There's work to do, and you know that the man alongside Christian Gambarini he'll be pouring through the data tonight, taking on all these comments from Pecco Bagnaia, and he'll figure out a way for his man to get off the turns a little better. But yeah, it's going to be a good one. Weather will dictate a lot tomorrow and again on Sunday.
It will indeed as well. Well, my thanks to TNT Sports. Now, here's your coverage details. Tomorrow, we're live on JB Motorsports 2 and JB Motorsports Twitch throughout the weekend. Megan Birch, of course, will take you through free practice 2 and qualifying. She'll be leading the coverage as well on the Tissot sprint. I'll hopefully join via voice call and be in the background to give some analysis. But Megan has the duties tomorrow, and I'll be back on Sunday, leading the action alongside Megan as well. But for practice today, it is Brad Binder for KTM on top, a 1:43.436. We'll see you tomorrow for all the action. Take care. Bye-bye.